Today's video is sponsored by Simply Safe. There's no safe like Simply Safe. More on that later. Hello and welcome back to Jarvis Johnson Gold, the premium channel that is free. It is free, but if you're watching this, you're premium. And today I'm upset because all I want to do in this life is listen to YouTube videos in the background while I do other things. And that experience has been ruined and compromised for me because of AI channels on YouTube. So I'm a big NBA fan. I used to live in San Francisco during the beginning of the Warriors dynasty. If that matters to you, I'm sorry. I sometimes relax by just listening to various NBA adjacent content or video essays or what have you. I was like playing video games or something when I started hearing this video in my ear that was just so obviously off to the point where it was, I was like, oh no, we got to change the channel. We got to cut this out and move on about our day. I did clock it and now I'm standing on business. And it was by this channel, Bball Explained. Here is a little of the video.
Wilt, the league had never seen anything like him and they had no idea how to handle it.
It starts like we're halfway through the video, even though we just began. But when I was just listening to it and not seeing the visuals, I assumed that it was auto playing something that I had already started watching in the past. But then I looked at my screen and realized it was just a bunch of unrelated images and text. They had no idea. Yeah, that's the most important thing here.
So they changed the rule. His insane athleticism and size let him swat shots that were still hovering above the rim.
Okay, so there was a rule change. They didn't tell us what rule is changing. Neither of these images is he swatting shots. He's kind of just squatting down. Ball looks really small in his hands though.
They didn't want players touching the ball while it was still inside that invisible cylinder above the rim.
Right, so they didn't want players touching the ball while it was still inside that invisible cylinder above the rim. At this point in a video editor's journey, a storyteller's tale, you'd say, hey, let's show the invisible cylinder above the rim. And it's the same fucking picture. it's the same picture of Wilt squatting down. Nowhere is there a cylinder.
Then came the lane. Back then it was only 6 feet wide. Wilt parked himself near the hoop and bullied everybody.
Then came the lane, and it is a figure diagram of an entire basketball court. That is not what the lane is. Also, this is clearly from someone else because all of these parts on the court are labeled, but they are not referring to that at all.
League had to push him back, so they doubled the lane to 12 feet.
They doubled the lane to 12 feet, depicted here by just making the entire basketball court bigger, which is not what they intend to communicate, I would have to assume. This, as you can tell, it's just like technically content. It's jingling keys for adults. But it has 800,000 views in 1 month on a channel that did not have a lot of subscribers a month ago when they posted this. So clearly it's working. And the people in the comments, if they are real, seem to be enjoying and actively engaging with the content, just like for real YouTubers. Someone's even doing that thing where they timestamp, where they talk about different players. Okay, basketball talk is over, I promise. Thank you for bearing with me. This channel is now at 111 videos. It was started in March. They've been posting 30-minute edited videos that seemingly would require research daily as a brand new channel, which is totally a thing that can happen, but it feels a little far-fetched. It felt even more far-fetched when I was recommended this video from Schleim9K. This channel is AI, here's how I know. This video has now picked up a bit of steam, but it was new at the time, and in it, there's a screenshot of Movies Explained, which is not a channel I was recommended, but it did look familiar. In this video, which you should watch, I'll link it in the description, he explains why he thinks that this channel is AI, and there's a number of reasons that you could imagine from that basketball video, but some of them that are a little less obvious are things like ChatGPT have a tendency to use M-dashes, and even though that's not something that you see because you don't see the script, you can kind of hear a vocal M-dash in the speech. They often structure arguments as it's not just X, it's Y, or they list things in counts of 3. And all of these things can be strategies employed by real people, but they are so commonly used in AI and so prevalent in these videos. And then you add in all the other stuff that we've already looked at, the intonation of the voices don't make sense. The videos are coming out all the time. The editing is bad. It just like doesn't even feel that connected to what the script is saying. Just when I was filming this, I was like, there's a basketball channel. Is there a football one? Yeah, apparently. And it's not as successful, but they're giving it a go. They're not posting daily, but they're close. It gives off the same vibe, and it was started even earlier. Connected? I'm not sure, but the title formatting looks familiar. The thumbnails look familiar. The profile picture looks familiar. But before I keep yapping, we have a brief word from today's sponsor, SimpliSafe. Look, you might have heard me talk in the past about some scary stuff that happened in my home regarding an unwanted visitor. And it was that experience that inspired me. It was time to get a home security system, and that's where SimpliSafe has my back. SimpliSafe is an easy to install alarm system with a support staff working around the clock to help you out. Traditional alarm systems only react once a break-in has occurred, but with SimpliSafe's ActiveGuard outdoor protection, cameras detect activity whenever someone enters an area they're not supposed to be in, and you are notified and can take action accordingly. But you don't even have to be the one to take that direct action, because SimpliSafe has agents monitoring 24/7 who can take action such as shining lights or calling for help if needed. All of this before any bad stuff goes down. Live monitoring plans start at around $1 a day with no hidden fees, and you get access to additional features like CO2 detectors, moisture and temperature sensors, so you can make sure your home and pets are safe even when you're not at the house. SimpliSafe also has a convenient app that makes it really easy to arm and disarm the system, view camera feeds, and manage any features you'll need to, which gives you full control of your security from anywhere at any time. Not to mention, SimpliSafe has been named one of the best home security systems by US News and World Report 5 years in a row, and there's no long-term contracts and no cancellation fees, so it's easy to give SimpliSafe a try. Save 50% on your SimpliSafe security system and get your first month free when you sign up for a select professional monitoring plan. Just head on over to simplisafe.com/Jarvis Gold to customize yours. There's no safe like SimpliSafe. Thanks again to SimpliSafe for sponsoring this video. Now back to me. Let's check out every unbreakable college football record explained.
Georgia Tech, 222-0 win over Cumberland.
Okay, so this is something that I happen to know about because I went to Georgia Tech and I went to a lot of football games there, and they do not shut up about this game. Let's see what they've got to say. I already have my suspicions from the way the voice sounds.
This isn't just a college football record. It's the most lopsided game in the history of the sport.
All right, so we already have the topics in it structured like it's not just delivery, it's DiGiorno. There's a video that Schleim links by Evan Edinger that I just watched as well that is about kind of AI, the rhetorical techniques that AI commonly uses. So I'll link that in the description as well.
In 1916, Georgia Tech defeated Cumberland College by a score of 222-0.
Okay, so we've kind of just repeated ourselves because they just said Georgia Tech defeats Cumberland 222-0, 1916, and then just repeated that information, except for now there's a very low resolution screenshot of the Wikipedia page. Like if you or I put that in there, we would go, oh, that's really low resolution. Let me see if I can fix that before this video goes live. But then I realized this is on Google Images if you search for this game. Would you look at that? This post is from 2014 and it's a very low resolution screenshot of Wikipedia from 10 years ago. I'm going to be building my theory of the case, which is you have an AI writing a script, you have AI grabbing relevant images, and then you have AI creating like a glorified slideshow. And actually the fact that there's not much happening in this video makes it very easy for me to believe that it was done with AI. In fact, if there weren't animations, I would just assume it was a slideshow generated by AI, but there's a little bit more sauce, but only a little bit. This seems very achievable for AI to do, and I will show you how people are doing this. Though I do think that this particular creator, if you want to call him that, is doing something homegrown or using a tool that I'm not exactly sure to make these videos, but we'll get to what these tool chains look like.
By a score of 222-0. It remains the largest margin of victory ever recorded in college football.
No shit. 2 seconds ago, you just said it was the most lopsided game in the history of the sport, and it's not just a college football record. And now you're saying, hey, it's a college football record. Did you know that? It's filling the space. It's like repeating, it's getting to the word count, you know? They definitely started with, hey, AI, make a 28-minute video. By all means necessary. Who knows what other channels exist that I haven't been able to find? You can let me know in the comments if you've been recommended similar content in whatever your niche content viewing habits are. The one thing that I'll note here is that it's complete slop and it's actually getting a lot of watch time. In the 4 months since Bball Explained was created, it's generated 11 million views, which is a considerable amount of viewership and average view duration, which is going to mean a considerable amount of money, doing what I have to imagine was not a ton of work, especially knowing that the AI was doing the majority of that work. I double checked, and this content is actively monetized. So they're making the same type of AdSense dollars that I make on any of my content. Seems like a pretty good deal, right? Like lots of free money for very minimal work. Why aren't more people doing this? Well, what if I told you that this was just the tip of the iceberg and we are witnessing the excrement of the new get-rich-quick scheme that is YouTube automation? I'm no stranger to content farms. We have always had companies making slop content on YouTube for profit. Much of my early YouTube career was spent talking about these channels, but we have now automated them. If I'm to type YouTube automation tutorial into my search bar, I would see lots of results. I tried Faceless YouTube automation for 200 days, truth about YouTube automation, actual results, how to make fuck you money with YouTube automation, how to start a YouTube automation business step by step. Here is a video by someone named Baddie in Business, how to start YouTube automation step by step, no face, no editing, free course, 1.4 million views.
Hey, future millionaires.
Hey, future millionaires. It doesn't feel good. I don't want to be promising that to people.
You may have seen faceless channels on YouTube before. These channels are getting millions of views with thousands of followers just by creating simple videos about different topics. Motivational videos, educational videos, travel.
This is funny because faceless YouTube is not inherently where the problem is, okay? You can see here, she references Brightside, which is a known content farm with the same owners, the sole publishing, as 5 Minute Crafts. I even watch faceless YouTubers all the time. Summoning Salt only did a face reveal like this week, and they've had their channel for like 5 years. Most video essayists on YouTube aren't showing their face. I watch a guy, shout out to A Funky Diabetic. This video is 5 minutes of a guy talking over just an image of Damian Lillard. That's fine. I like this channel a lot. The issue is the AI slop content of it all. That is what it's a little weird to be like, hey, faceless YouTube is all over. Here's some channels that aren't AI, but let's create slop together. Millionaires. What's a little surprising to me is where channels like Brightside and 5 Minute Crafts, like these old school content farms, have fallen off. Like their old strategies don't work the same as they once did. AI channels are a little bit harder. It's a little bit tougher of a whack-a-mole game because the fire hose is so powerful. It's not just a couple of companies creating content. It could be anybody creating thousands of videos a week that is going to overwhelm any individual who's tasked with identifying AI content. Probably going to take AI efforts on behalf of YouTube to detect AI. Thankfully, like AI is reasonably good at detecting AI right now, and let's hope that YouTube is investing in those tools. But we need to put the pressure on YouTube because this just dilutes the platform. It makes the platform worse for everyone. A couple of people make some dollars, but I'd prefer slop content by real people at the very least. Is that too much to ask? To me, this is like a new drop shipping. I have an Instagram account where I follow and like the worst stuff that I can find. And a while back, I would get like ads of people promising if you buy their course, they can teach you to buy a Lamborghini with your YouTube automation funds, you know? YouTube is trying to tackle this and recently announced a policy related to faceless YouTube channels. In typical YouTube fashion, the messaging was very confusing and it scared a lot of faceless content creators who are just not showing their face and not at all mass producing content or creating like complete slop content entirely from different AIs bouncing off of one another. Then YouTube had to come out and clarify and even in some ways like walk back the statement. And so now it reads, we're making a minor update to our repetitious content policy to better clarify this includes content that is repetitive or mass produced. We're also renaming this policy from repetitious content to inauthentic content. This type of content has always been ineligible for monetization under our existing policies. But as I've shown you, this clearly AI content is monetized. You can go on Twitter and look at people who are like, wow, save this Faceless YouTube channel for later. They started 5 months ago and have generated 5.4 million views. That's nearly $30,000 with a $5, $6 RPM. Not bad considering they use an AI voice for every video, images generated by Midjourney or Leonardo AI, scripts that are likely 80% written with AI help. See how simple Faceless YouTube is? There's just constant success stories of people essentially duping YouTube into letting their slop content on the platform. I want you to understand how simple this is. How to start a Faceless YouTube channel with AI 1 hour course.
It took me 365 days to make $500,000 with this Faceless YouTube channel. So when I started this channel, I was a broke high school student with $120 to my name.
Maybe as you should be, some might say. Aren't most high school students broke? You're in high school. You don't have a 6-figure business. That is normal and okay. I don't know when it became this thing where like you need to be stunting. You need to be stunting with all that cash, you know? Just be in fucking high school, but whatever, man. Nothing wrong with starting a business, but like, I do feel like we're losing the plot a little bit.
I make a full-time income from my Faceless channels, travel the world, and work from absolutely anywhere in the world.
What happened to high school? It's just, okay, I hope you, okay.
After watching this video, you'll have the entire blueprint I used to go from $0 to $150,000 a month.
Yeah, so it sounds good, right? Well, here's the process. You start off by determining a niche. They just choose the history niche, but you could choose the basketball niche. Just look at the movies niche. Look at any of these explained videos and where they're operating in, and they're following a very similar roadmap. They identify 3 channels that are real, as far as I know, channels that they want to copy. I don't know if you remember, a couple of weeks ago, Mr. Beast got into hot water for creating a tool that would allow you to rip off other creators' thumbnails. This is like even further than that. It's here's how to just take a channel and create the AI slop version of that channel to then impede in that niche. And even if you're not successful in overtaking the niche, you're still drafting behind legitimate channels with your AI slop and like taking ad revenue that I'm not going to say should go to these other creators, but at the very least, a lot of the audience are unsuspecting that they're watching content that wasn't really created by a person. Some people don't care, but I do think that YouTube doesn't want a platform that is full of self-ingesting, regurgitated AI slop, where everything is, because this AI is all trained on these creators anyway. If I go into ChatGPT right now and say, give me 10 Jarvis Johnson YouTube video ideas. How the fuck do you know about Jarvis Johnson's style? You know what I mean? You didn't just process this because you barely had to talk to the internet. If I asked it a question that it had to look up, and I know this because we talk a lot about AI on the podcast, and this video is actually inspired by an upcoming episode of Sad Boys. Check that out in the description. I recently used ChatGPT to try and help me play Final Fantasy X while comparing it against a real guide for the game and just my own eyeballs. And it gave me so much incorrect information that I eventually insulted it to the point where it would always search the internet before it gave you results. And I can tell this is not searching the internet before it gives me results because it didn't have to query for any amount of time. It's just already baked in knowledge about me that I didn't consent to. So all that's to say, the reason that these AI models can even copy these people's channels is because they have ingested, with dubious legality in a lot of cases, a ton of existing YouTube content for free. It was a similar thing that people got upset with about Mr. Beast's thumbnail thing. The worst part is that some of these things are things I've considered doing videos about. The $1 billion industry of lying to your dog, I've considered that. What the hell, man? Give me my thoughts back. Want a more themed set? AI rabbit holes, TikTok absurdity, tech bro takedowns? Nothing is real anymore. So first of all, you figure out whoever you want to rip off, and then you plug in that into ChatGPT and you say, hey, give me some ideas for like a rip-off channel that like sounds like a channel that exists but doesn't technically exist. You can take inspiration from the names Beginning to Now, Fire of Learning, and Voices of the Past, and then boom, fucking Legacy of Ages. Sounds like a goddamn Zelda game. Legacy of Ages. That'll be the name of our AI history channel. And then you go into Leonardo AI and you create some AI art. Most of us already know the AI art vibe, so we know what that looks like. And then one of the more insidious parts is that there's a tool called Tube Magic. You can put in any YouTube channel or channel URL and generate video ideas against that channel, and from that generate script ideas that you can on a slider just choose how long you want the script to be, and then you hop on over to the entire history of Japan from samurai to superpower, and then you can generate the script. And this is like what he does in the video. They send that over to another tool called 11 Labs, which is famous for like its voice cloning, AI voice cloning tool, that you can create an AI voice of yourself, but they just have it voice over the script. And then you've got other tools like Midjourney or Leonardo AI. For Legacy of Ages, they generated this like generic looking Japanese man, by the way, and now they're going to animate his mouth with DID/Hey Now, which looks like shit, by the way, but that's subjective. And then you generate thumbnails that have the extremely AI look, as we are all now familiar. Then they animate their like mega AI ass images to like slightly move a little bit, something that you could have otherwise accomplished with like a slow zoom, because it's not like they look real, but whatever, it's already so fake, who cares. Then they edit the video themselves, which is the craziest part to me, because I'm pretty sure AI exists to do this. Case in point, the Bball Explained channel, I'm pretty sure a human being did not edit that. So they edit their talking head of this like fake AI Japanese man over their fake AI backdrop. Then they create a thumbnail with AI and a little bit of Canva, you know, the Salt Bay on top. And then you just keep repeating that until you're so rich that you don't have to go to high school anymore. Something that's funny to me is that when he shows you how to upload it to YouTube, you select no on altered content, and he's like, trust me. And the description of altered content is makes a real person appear to say something they didn't do. Okay, no. Generates a realistic looking scene that didn't actually occur. I mean, it depends. There's another tool, vid.ai, that basically does everything for you. All you have to do is give it a title. I want to play around with vid.ai to see like what its capabilities are, but there's a certain point where you're like, how much am I actually just doing the unethical thing I'm attempting to call out? So let me know your thoughts on that. I think that obviously, given that I'm discussing it in kind of trying to peel back the curtain, it's quite expensive. So that's another reason I didn't want to use it out of the gate. Let me know if you'd want to see something like that. There's another channel called The AI Guy, which I guess is a person, or is he AI? Made a video called I copied a $13,000 a month YouTube automation channel using AI. It's like AI on AI violence, I guess. They're using vid.ai to copy this channel Discover the Globe that just creates like Trump fearmonger content that's extremely low effort and wrong factually. Oh, sorry. No, it was called I copied a $42,000 a month YouTube automation channel. So I guess this is like a trend. It's just a bummer all around. And I actually had to record this video twice because my camera was out of focus. And the first time I recorded it, I hadn't even confirmed that this new YouTube policy had been enacted. It's now been a week since it's allegedly been enacted, and tons of these AI channels are still monetized. So I don't really understand who it's stopping, but I personally need to see better, because it's really just a race to the bottom and it dilutes the quality of the platform. It makes it a less usable platform to just have completely AI generated nonsense everywhere. It's kind of like on Twitter, when most of the time you look at the replies, it's AI rage bait accounts. I don't want YouTube to become that, and it seems like we're on a fast track to that because there's so much money to be made in duping people into watching your slop. So that's my rant. Sorry. I don't want to act like I don't have faith in the consumer or in the viewer, but a lot of times people are just looking for background content and maybe aren't as discerning or aren't able to turn the video off. They're like driving and listening to something in the background, audiobook style. It's easy to say that the average consumer can just notice that it's shit AI content and turn it off, and then it won't be successful. But we already know that these people are printing hundreds of thousands, if not more, dollars with completely AI generated content. And the same could have been said for AI images only a couple of months ago or a year ago. How long ago were we comparing fingers and going, oh, look, AI fingers, and now AI fingers work just fine. Will Smith's spaghetti video was only a couple of years ago, and now it's started to become the benchmark for how good AI video has gotten. Not to mention Google's like VO3, where they're doing like on the street interview AI videos. I think that at the very least, you need to add a field to YouTube content publishing where you say, is this an AI generated video? And then say, that means that the majority of the shit was generated with AI. That content needs to, at the very least, be flagged. I don't know what YouTube does. I don't know all the right things to do about it. I'm just identifying what I consider to be an issue. And I also worry about the false positives, because it's a difficult problem. It's a difficult problem to solve at scale. And I myself and many creators like me have been caught up in YouTube's automated tools before, despite being not offending or breaking a rule. You know, once I had a video demonetized because it said I discussed like acts of war, and it was a video about Ellen DeGeneres. And it's only because I have a large Twitter following and could complain that anything got done about it. So I just worry about this for like my fellow creators en masse. But with all that being said, everything else is great. I hope you're doing good, and I'll see you next time. Stay gold, everybody.